Spring is one of the busiest times on the homestead. There is always so much to get done, even before we're able to plant our garden. This year, we needed to take down a few locust trees before they leafed out. As you can see, they were pretty damaged by ants and were at risk of falling into our apiary. My husband, who would never claim to be an expert at felling trees, has gotten pretty good at dropping them where he wants them. This was really important here, as the goal in taking them down was to prevent them from taking out a beehive. Once this was done, we were able to move on to emptying our wooden beds and moving them into the new garden space before we fenced it. These beds are 8 feet by 4 feet and 24 inches tall, so it was a lot of work. So the day has finally come where we have nice enough weather to actually pull the fence around the garden. And we've never done this before, so I'm sure someone's gonna look at this and say, wow, there's all sorts of things we're doing wrong here, and I'm gonna totally agree. We've already figured a few things out. Let me go ahead and share with you what we've learned so far. So first things first, we are using 8-foot T-posts that are driven into the ground at least 2.5 feet. And we found these really cool ways to support the T-posts at the corners called the wedge lock. And so we've got all of these in the corner, and then thanks to other videos on YouTube, we saw people creating contraptions to basically stretch out your fence. And we've really overestimated how much you have to stretch that fence, and I'll show you why here in a second. But we are anchoring it to the tractor and then pulling it along this entire length, which is about 45 feet. So here's the actual setup for the pulley system. We've got two 2x4s about 4 feet long, sandwiching the fence in here and anchored with that chain, and a pulley system to the tractor. It does work pretty well, although one thing we would say, the chain actually is separating on the tractor. So if you take a look here, it's not incredible, but you can start to see that some of those chain links are actually pulling apart due to the stress of the pulley system. So that may be something we have to rethink in the future. I'm not sure what the gauge of this particular chain is. So we actually started in this back corner, anchoring the fence in. We might rethink this placement in the future. And if I come out, you're gonna see why. The stress on pulling the fence, as you can see, actually bent that T-post. We're hoping that it's still going to be structurally sound, at least enough to hold up this fence. It actually even pulled this second fence post off a little. So, as I said, we're learning as we go, and tension seems to be everything, and maybe pulling 40-some feet is too much. I guess we'll see when we do the next time. So we're using these fence clips to attach the fence to the T-posts, and we have one of these nifty little contraptions that help to twist the fence around. Better than pliers, faster than pliers. There's no instructions on the package on how to use these, so once again, YouTube's your friend, and we learned how to put these on, and it actually is pretty darn easy and quick once you get the rhythm of attaching those. So it is the end of June almost, and we're putting the final touches on the fence. The fence itself is just a little over 4 feet, and we haven't had any deer come in here yet, but we just want to make sure that we have some extra protection. So we're putting up an extra line at the top of these T-posts, and then we're actually going to take some of this reflective tape and we're going to string some of that on there just so it, I don't know, maybe deters them. We'll see how well it works. So again, thank you Tractor Supply for these nifty little doodads that we can string the wire through. It makes it a lot easier to string this on. And again, we're just putting this around the perimeter of the fence before we put on the streamers. And then we're gonna call this fence complete. So the last thing we need to do is put up these streamers to help to create some reflection and sound to deter the deer and the birds, hopefully. And I'm only gonna put a few up because I'm not sure how well this is gonna work, but let's take a look and see. All right, so I'm gonna pull this out, I don't know, maybe a foot. Give it a little cut. And I want it to be kind of feathery. So I'm gonna fold it sort of diagonally, give it a little bit of crease here. And now I have to get it to stick on the fence. So what I'm gonna do is this is just a tape runner, and I'm gonna put a little bit here on that crease so that it will stick to the wire. So let's go ahead and stick it on the wire. Now just to make sure it's extra secure, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little extra bit right here. And it doesn't want to stick as well in the heat. That should do it. And there we go.